2025 has brought a lot of amazing retro motorcycles that look super cool. Not only that, these bikes are packed with a lot of insane new features that add a lot of practicality to the retro aesthetic. So if you're into retro bikes, you might want to stick around till the end because we've got some incredible bikes you need to see. 10. Kawasaki W230. The Kawasaki W230 is one of those bikes that instantly transports you back in time. It's got that proper 60s British bike look with a teardrop tank, wire spoke wheels, and an overall silhouette that feels like it just rolled out of a classic motorcycle poster. The W230 is powered by a 230cc single-cylinder engine. And while that might not sound like much, it's more than enough for city riding and casual weekend cruising. Plus, this bike isn't about speed, it's about style. The details are what really sell it. The chrome fenders, the perfectly contoured seat, and that simple round headlight all come together to create something that looks just right. And here's the kicker, it's priced at around $5,500, making it an incredibly tempting option for anyone who wants a small, stylish retro without breaking the bank. But if you're after something with a bit more Italian flair, the next bike on the list is going to grab your attention. Another thing that will grab your attention is our videos. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with our latest videos. 9. Moto Guzzi V7. Have you ever seen a bike that just feels timeless? Like, even if you don't know anything about motorcycles, you'd look at it and think, yeah, that's a classic. That's the Moto Guzzi V7. It doesn't scream for attention, but somehow it gets it anyway. What makes it stand out? First off, that transverse V-twin. Unlike most motorcycles where the cylinders sit in line, Guzzi's V7 has them jutting out sideways like wings, giving the whole bike a wider, more muscular stance. Then there's the tank, perfectly sculpted, slightly elongated, and finished with just the right amount of chrome. It has that vintage café racer shape that flows seamlessly into the seat, which is another design highlight. And here's the best part, you get all this classic Italian design for around $9,000. That's an absolute steal for a bike that looks effortlessly cool. But if you want something that ditches the elegance for raw, stripped-down aggression, check out this next one. 8. Ducati Scrambler Icon Dark. If the Moto Guzzi V7 is like a classic rock album, the Ducati Scrambler Icon Dark is the underground punk record that only the cool kids know about. This thing is mean, minimal, and dripping with attitude. Ducati took their already stylish Scrambler and stripped it down to its purest form. No flashy colors, no unnecessary chrome, just matte black everything. And it works! The circular headlamp with its retro meets modern LED ring keeps things classic, but with a touch of futurism. There's also the frame, a beautifully exposed trellis design that's as much a part of the bike's identity as the engine itself. Speaking of the engine, Ducati didn't just leave it sitting there, they made it a masterpiece. The L-twin motor finished in black with brushed aluminum accents is a work of art. For $10,000, you get a motorcycle that isn't just retro, it's effortlessly cool. But maybe you're after something that blends vintage charm with high-tech refinement, because this next bike is all about that. 7. Yamaha XSR900. Some bikes look retro because they're trying to replicate the past. The Yamaha XSR900? It looks retro because it's built on the legacy of Yamaha's greatest hits. The first thing that grabs you is the neo-retro bodywork. Yamaha could have gone full classic, but instead they kept it sleek and futuristic, while holding on to just enough old-school styling. The fuel tank is a masterpiece, rounded, sculpted, and shaped to echo the legendary Yamaha race bikes of the 80s. Plus, it's wrapped in high-quality aluminum covers that give it a raw industrial edge. And let's not ignore the frame and engine. The aluminum frame is exposed just enough to show off its sharp angular structure, while the 889cc triple-cylinder engine sits in the middle like a mechanical heart, perfectly framed by the bike's lines. At $10,300, the XSR900 is for riders who want that retro feel without giving up modern performance. But if you want a bike that goes all in on classic styling, the next one is a true legend. 6. Triumph Bonneville T120. If there's one motorcycle that's a true classic, it's the Triumph Bonneville T120. It's the kind of machine that could roll up next to a 1960s original, and most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Let's talk about that silhouette. The Bonneville T120 has that unmistakable British roadster stance, long, low, and elegant. The fuel tank is pure nostalgia, with those signature knee pads that scream vintage café racer. It's finished with hand-painted pinstripes, and in certain color schemes, it looks like something straight out of a classic motorcycle poster. Even the details are spot on. The wire spoke wheels, the dual analog gauges, the ribbed leather seat. It's all a tribute to the golden era of motorcycling. At $13,500, the Bonneville T120 isn't just one of the best-looking retro bikes, it's one of the most authentic. But if you want something that takes classic British design and cranks up the aggression, check out this next bike. But before that, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos on your favorite motorcycles. 5. Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650. Royal Enfield has been making motorcycles for over a century, and with the Super Meteor 650, they've taken that vintage cruiser charm and refined it into something that looks absolutely stunning. First off, let's talk about presence. The Super Meteor 650 is low, long, and wide, with a classic teardrop fuel tank that gives it that unmistakable cruiser silhouette. Then there's the front end. That big round headlamp, housed in a beautifully finished nacelle, gives it that vintage touring bike look. The fork covers, chunky front fender, and high handlebars all add to its heritage cruiser personality. And those wire spoke wheels? Absolutely perfect for completing that classic aesthetic. The best part? The bike is shockingly affordable. At $7,000, the Super Meteor 650 delivers the kind of style you'd expect from a bike twice the price. But if you want something even more refined, wait till you see this next bike. 4. Indian Scout Bobber. Some bikes are elegant, some are aggressive, and then there's the Indian Scout Bobber, a machine that looks like it was built in a garage by someone who wanted to start a fight. Indian absolutely nailed the proportions with the Scout Bobber. The chopped fenders, the low-slung seat, and the wide handlebars give it a stance that looks mean even when it's parked. The blacked-out engine and exhaust make the Scout Bobber look even tougher. Instead of polished chrome, Indian went all in on the stealthy, dark aesthetic, which gives it a sinister, custom-built vibe. But one of the most defining features has to be the thick, chunky tires. Mounted on blacked-out wire-spoke wheels, they give the Scout Bobber this bulldog-like stance. Sturdy, planted, and aggressive as hell. And with a price tag of $13,000, you're getting one of the most stylish, head-turning motorcycles money can buy. But if you want something that attracts even more attention, this next bike is for you. 3. Ducati Scrambler Café Racer. Ducati doesn't do subtle, and the Scrambler Café Racer is proof. This bike oozes personality. From the low-slung handlebars to the sculpted seat that looks like it belongs in a 1960s Grand Prix. Ducati didn't just throw some Café Racer parts on a Scrambler and call it a day. They built something that feels purposefully designed, with every line and curve flowing together like a proper custom build. The exhaust is one of its best features. A high-mounted twin-pipe Termione setup that looks aggressive and sounds even better. It follows the contour of the bike beautifully, giving it that raw, race-ready vibe without being over the top. Ducati went with a deep blue for the tank, contrasted against a bright white trellis frame, which makes the bike pop like a vintage racer that just got a modern refresh. At $12,000, it's got style, it's got attitude, and it's got that undeniable Ducati cool factor. But maybe you want something that leans a little more into classic Japanese muscle, then check out this next bike. 2. Kawasaki Z900 RS. The Z900 RS isn't just a retro-styled bike, It's a tribute to one of the most legendary motorcycles of all time, the Kawasaki Z1. But unlike some throwback bikes that feel like marketing gimmicks, this one feels authentic. And nothing screams authenticity like the headlight setup. The big round LED unit is housed in a classic metal casing, with just the right amount of modern detailing to make it functional without losing that 70s charm. Above it, the simple but effective single-gauge dash gives you everything you need without overwhelming you with tech. The exhaust setup is spot on, too. Instead of tucking it away or going with something aggressive, Kawasaki went for a low-slung, long chrome pipe that mimics the classic 4-into-1 setups of the 70s. It gives the bike a sense of flow and balance, keeping it looking clean and purposeful. Priced at $11,000, the Z900 RS is a perfect mix of nostalgia and modern performance. But if you're looking for the absolute best-looking retro bike, BMW has you covered. 1. BMW R9T. BMW's designers went all out when they designed the R9T. It's a bike that turns heads, not just because it's beautiful, but because it has a presence that few motorcycles can match. Let's talk engine first. BMW's air-cooled 1170cc Boxer Twin is one of the most visually striking motors in the business. Instead of trying to hide it behind fairings or overcomplicated designs, BMW puts it front and center, with those big horizontally opposed cylinders jutting out on either side like a mechanical sculpture. The seat and tail section are pure café racer elegance. The standard version comes with a beautifully stitched floating leather seat, sitting just above the rear wheel with that perfect minimal look. But if you want something even cleaner, BMW offers a rear seat cowl option, which turns the R9T into one of the best-looking factory cafe racers out there. The craziest part is that it costs $15,500, meaning that you can own one of the most beautiful bikes ever made without breaking the bank. Did we miss out on any other bike? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe for more.